I already gave my opinion on what I think are the top 5 best Nike soccer cleats / football boots, but what are the 5 worst ones currently available, or at the very least, the 5 that you should not buy? That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com, bringing you what I consider to be the top 5 worst Nike soccer cleats / football boots currently available. Now, automatically when people hear the word worst, they associate that with the shoes being bad, but that is not what I'm saying here whatsoever. None of the shoes I'm about to name are bad performance products. All of these will get the job done, and all of them are very, very wearable soccer cleats. With that being said, and the reason why they are on this top 5 worst list is because I don't think that any of these shoes are worth your money, because there are better options at the same price ranges, either from Nike or from other brands, for reasons that I will explain in this video. There are 3 main factors in my decision-making process here, one being the quality of the shoe, so the package as a whole, the way that it fits and feels, the materials on the shoe, everything that you can actually hold in your hands and obviously wear on your feet factors into the overall quality, which is important at any price point. Number 2 is the actual price. Be it high end or low end, the price definitely matters, because that brings us into point number 3, what your alternate options are. If you're gonna spend $120 on a specific shoe, what are your other options at $120? If they're better, you should buy the better shoe, regardless of what brand, regardless of what model. So those are the 3 things that we're gonna be focusing on, and I'll be explaining for every single one of these picks, and why I wouldn't necessarily recommend that specific shoe. Also keep in mind that all of these picks are in no particular order, and if you enjoy the top 5 series on my channel, or at the very least enjoy this particular video, don't forget to leave a like down below. And if you're watching one of my videos for the first time, welcome, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you aren't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. Number 1 is the Nike Mercurial Victory 6, either the low cut or the mid-cut variation of the shoe. Now, I know this is kind of a controversial pick. The Mercurial line is obviously very, very popular, and the Victory as a takedown model is easily one of the most popular takedown models out there right now, and that has been the case for basically 6 generations. The low-end $80 price point Mercurials have always been extremely popular. So why am I saying that I don't recommend them? Now again, don't get me wrong, I don't think that these shoes are bad by any means. They are capable, but they are simply not the best option from the Nike brand at this particular price point right now, and that is simply because of the existence of the Nike Hypervenom Phelon 3, which is also available in a low cut and a mid cut variation. If I were having my pick, I would personally go for the low cut version, not only because it's cheaper, not only because it's a little bit lighter, but mainly because I do find the low cut version to be a lot more comfortable. Even on the mid cut Victory 6, this is the case with all of these $90 price point mid cut takedown models. I realize it's the cheapest way to get a mid cut shoe, but the implementation of the mid-cut design is fairly low quality in comparison to what you can get at a lower price with the standard low-cut version. So even with the Victory 6, if you have to buy one, I would personally recommend the low-cut over the mid-cut. But when you're talking about the quality of materials, the quality of the upper, and the overall experience of playing in the shoes, the Victory 6 has a much more plasticky, kind of rigid sensation on your feet versus what you get with the Hypervenom Phelon 3, which has an upper material, that Nike Skin mesh-based synthetic, that is not too far off from what we originally got when the Nike Hypervenom Phantom 1 launched, debuting Nike Skin in the first place. It has an upper that could be featured on a much more expensive shoe. And when you're talking about a thinner synthetic feel overall, you're gonna get that sensation from both the Phelon 3 and the Victory. But again, the overall quality of the upper just makes the touch and experience so much better on the Phelon than what you'll get from the Victory. So again, if you have $80 to $90 to spend, if you are gonna pay that full retail price, I definitely think that going for a Phelon over a Victory is the way to go. Pick number 2 is the Nike Magista OPUS 2, either the first or second generation of the shoe. I'm holding the second generation with the newer style upper, but my opinion does not change regardless of what version we're talking about. So the reason why this is a pick, obviously being a top end model, which may be a little bit surprising, is because it's safe to say that 1, this is easily the least desirable top end shoe from Nike at the moment, and 2, there's not a whole lot of reason for this shoe to exist anymore, given your other options at the $230 retail price, which of course, keep in mind, we are considering other options at full retail, which is $230. Now, the idea behind the Opus 2 is that it does have their Kangolite synthetic upper, which when it first was introduced on the CTR 360 Maestri 1, 2, and 3, the use of Kangolite synthetic I thought was excellent, and at the time, they offered enough different characteristics to the shoe to where it was worth it to buy a Kangolite synthetic upper, which mimics the feel of natural leather versus just buying the real thing in the form of an actual leather shoe. Now that we're on the Opus 2, the Kangolite synthetic is a lot thinner and doesn't necessarily offer the same, I guess, leather-like quality that we used to get from the older CTR 360 Maestri models. So in that regard, if you're buying this shoe for the sake of it having a leather-like sensation, for $230, you are so much better off buying the Nike Tiempo Legend 7. It offers a much better touch in terms of overall quality, and if you're looking for that leather-like sensation, there really is no comparison. I think it's a better fitting shoe overall. It's certainly more responsive. They're pretty much 100% equal when it comes to the weight of the shoe, so there is no weight savings in regards to buying a synthetic shoe like the Opus versus buying a natural leather shoe like the Legend 7. Plus, I do prefer the sole plate and stud pattern on the new Legend 7 as well. So again, reasons to buy this over the Legend, I don't really see that there are any good valid reasons whatsoever. The only way that I would buy the Opus 2 as my next shoe is if I were on a budget and I could find them on sale. At $230, it's definitely not worth it, but if you can find them around half price, which you regularly can the Opus 2 because it isn't very popular, at $120, $100, sometimes even under $100, if you are on a tight budget at that particular price, this is a very, very solid option. Pick number 3 is another Magista, this time the ORDEN 2DF. Whether it's the first generation or the second generation of the shoe, I'm holding the second generation as an example, it doesn't matter. It simply is not worth it, and a lot of that has to do not so much with the quality, but more so the retail price of $170 US, which is quite simply way too much money for a takedown model. I realize it's a mid-cut shoe and it does have a fairly premium look to it overall, but looks certainly aren't everything when you're talking about a soccer cleat. In fact, the looks really don't matter all that much at all once the shoes are on your feet. I'm not saying you should buy a shoe that is ugly just because it's better, but looks certainly aren't everything. In regards to what you're getting for your $170, you're getting a synthetic upper that is not Kangolite like what you'll get on the Opus 2, which is far better quality by comparison, and it's certainly not the Flyknit upper you're gonna get on the Obra 2, which is much better quality in comparison to what this is. Instead, it's a cheaper synthetic material that doesn't feel overly bad by any means, but in terms of offering that kind of slightly padded leather-like sensation, it doesn't do a great job of that in comparison to other shoes you can buy for $170 or less. Keep that in mind. At $170, if that is your budget to buy a brand new pair of shoes, you can very easily get an older colorway or an older model of a top-end shoe discounted to $170 or even far less than that depending on the shoe. Or if you're just looking to stick with Nike and you do want a true leather-like sensation, get the real thing. A Nike Tiempo Legacy 3 with a retail price of $130 is almost as good as the Nike Tiempo Legend 7, and in comparison to the ORDEN 2, it's more comfortable, it's a better performing product, and the overall quality and experience that it's gonna have on offer, given that it is trying to offer something very similar from a feel standpoint, is gonna be so much better than what you can get for $170 from the ORDEN 2DF. Number 4 is the Nike Mercurial Veloce 3DF with another crazy retail price of $170 plus depending on the colorway for a takedown model. Keep that in mind. Now there are two main reasons why I wouldn't necessarily recommend these. The first reason being is the fact that this is a takedown model. So if you're buying something like this, you obviously have budget in mind. You don't have an unlimited amount of money to spend on your soccer cleats, which is perfectly understandable. So if you're simply looking for the best value, the Veloce 3 as a whole is not a bad package, but you can get the low-cut version of this exact shoe that has the same upper and the same sole plate and stud pattern for $130, $40 less than the DF model, which again, from a value standpoint is much better. Not to mention that I think the low-cut version is a lot more comfortable, plus it's gonna be a lot lot lighter as well. To spend $170 plus on this for the sake of it being mid-cut, a collar that, by the way, isn't actually Flyknit material like you'll find on the Superfly, which this is obviously mimicking the look of, that extra $40 simply is not worth it. Or if you just want this shoe for the sake of being mid-cut, again, you're spending $170 on a takedown model. You can very easily find older colorways of older top-end models, sometimes even current top-end models in older colorways, discounted to $170. We have very regularly seen this year Superfly 5s discounted to under $170 US. So the reason why you would buy this at full retail just doesn't make any sense at all. Consider your alternatives. There are much better options. Even if it's a Nike Mercurial Vapor 11 at a discounted price, you can very easily find those at around 170 bucks. That's gonna be a far better quality shoe than what's on offer here with the Veloce 3DF. And again, that is not to say that this is a bad shoe by any means. If you can find these at an outlet store or really deeply discounted to where they're around $100, if you really, really want them, it's not a bad shoe by any means. But again, if you're planning on spending $170 on the best possible pair of shoes for yourself, this is not the best option. Number 5 is the Nike Magista ONDA 2, either the low cut or the mid-cut variation, and either the first generation or the second generation of this particular upper. The low-cut version is gonna run you $75 at full retail, while the mid-cut version bears a $15 premium with a retail price of $90 US. Now again, this is kind of a similar situation to the Nike Mercurial Victory 6, where the shoe is by no means bad. It's capable, it gets the job done. But if you're buying these at full retail price, you simply have better options. The better value here, again, is going to be the low-cut version because there really isn't any performance benefit to adding this attached sock piece at the heel area of the shoe. Plus, I would argue the low-cut version does fit a little bit better overall. And again, if we're looking at what this shoe is supposed to offer from a feel standpoint, it's supposed to be somewhat of a leather-like sensation, but it's not the Flyknit you're gonna get from the Obra 2, and it's not the Kangalite synthetic you're gonna get from the OPUS 2. Instead, it's a cheaper, fairly generic, kind of plasticky feeling synthetic material. So, what are your alternative options that are gonna be better quality and just offer a better experience? Well, if you want that leather-like feel, I would definitely consider the Nike Tiempo LIGERA 4, which retails for $75, the same price as the low-cut ONDA 2, and it features a natural calfskin leather upper that is actually extremely good quality considering the $75 price point. That is a leather upper that meets the quality standards of what you might find on some $100 plus shoes out there from other brands, which is pretty ridiculous. The quality you get from that LIGERA 4 at that $75 price point is really, really good, far exceeding what you're gonna get from the ONDA 2. If you wanna go the synthetic route, stick with a synthetic shoe. Again, the Nike Hypervenom Phelon 3, either the low cut or the mid cut version, depending on which one you really, really want, is gonna offer a much better quality experience from a synthetic shoe at this particular price point. So again, your reasons for buying the ONDA 2 over those two other options, I just don't see any good reason for it. An honorable mention, which I suppose is dishonorable on this particular list, is the Nike Premier 2, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are probably surprised to see here. But the reason why the Nike Premier 2 isn't as good of an option as it used to be is because of the existence of the Nike Tiempo Legacy 3. That release from Nike, while this retails for $110 and the Legacy 3 retails for $130, there is a $20 premium on the Legacy over the Premier, which is why I made this an honorable mention. I guess it's less of a bad value in comparison to the other shoes on this list, but I really do feel like it's worth the extra $20 in terms of what you're getting with that Legacy 3. It's a better fitting shoe. I think it's a more comfortable shoe. The quality of the leather, I would argue, is nicer than what you're gonna get on the Premier 2. It's also far more responsive and offers a far more aggressive stud pattern as well. The Nike Premier 2 is still a great option because one, it is $20 less, and the quality you're getting at that $110 price point is still very, very good in comparison to most other shoes out there, but it definitely is more of an old school shoe in terms of what it has on offer from a performance standpoint. So if you can afford the extra $20, I would recommend going the Legacy 3 route rather than buying the Nike Premier 2. Anyways, guys, those are my picks. Please keep in mind that this is not a video designed to hate on Nike, to hate on any brand specifically, or to hate on any shoes at all. Like I said at the start of this video, I think that all of these shoes are capable as performance products. And if you have any of the shoes that I didn't recommend in this video, it's not for you to get angry at. It's simply me sharing my experience and giving you guys my advice based on those experiences with reasonable explanations as to what alternatives you should or might want to consider versus the shoes that I talked about in today's video. Anyways, guys, that is it for my picks. Let me know your opinions on them down below in the comments. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if there's any other shoes that you would add to this top 5 list that is not quite the most desirable top 5 list to be on. But anyways, any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comments as well, and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. All of my social media information is linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.